The man was clearly the #1 kung fu champion in the world, but he chose to hide his identity, working as a lowly janitor in Martial Arts Hall A. Everyone in the dojo looked down on him, mocking him as a useless man with no martial arts talent. But they didn't know, the man was actually hiding a huge secret. 3 years ago, he had just become the once every 3 years kung fu champion. Reporters had prepared a grand press conference for him, but the man was nowhere to be found. Little did they know, he was in the hospital taking care of his mother. His enemies had injured his mother, and his mother believed it was the champion title that brought the disaster. She forced him to swear never to reveal his identity as the kung fu champion, and to live the rest of his life as an ordinary man. Once a new champion was chosen 3 years later, he could finally use his kung fu again. To fulfill his mother's dying wish, he sealed away his own martial arts. 3 years later, the man had gone from a kung fu champion to a janitor. He had a younger sister, and after their mother passed away, his sister joined Martial Arts Hall A to learn kung fu. The man silently stayed by her side to protect her. She looked down on her weak and useless brother, and decided to learn kung fu herself to avenge their mother. Little did she know, her brother would one day save the entire dojo. That day, Master Smith of Martial Arts Hall had gathered everyone in the dojo. He had decided to select a student to represent the dojo in a kung fu tournament. The sister volunteered herself, but the other students were not convinced, because she was just a fragile woman and could never match the senior disciple. But she was full of confidence. She challenged the senior disciple to a duel. If she could defeat him, she would represent Martial Arts Hall A in the competition. Master Smith agreed to her request. The sister and the senior disciple officially began their match. The man watched silently from the side. He immediately noticed the senior disciple's weakness, but when he tried to tell his sister, she dismissed him with disdain. To her, he was just a janitor who knew nothing about martial arts, not qualified to give her advice. The next second, the senior disciple struck and injured her. Just as she was about to lose, she reluctantly tried the method her brother had suggested. To everyone's surprise, she defeated the senior disciple. She was stunned. Her brother had actually known the senior disciple's weakness. At that moment, William, the owner of Martial Arts Hall B, suddenly arrived. He mocked Martial Arts Hall A for being too weak, even letting a janitor give martial arts advice. Master Smith was shocked. Why was William here to stir up trouble? William gave a contemptuous smile. He was here to challenge Smith to a kung fu duel. If Martial Arts Hall B won, Smith would have to give up his tournament spot to William. Smith didn't want to accept the challenge, because Martial Arts Hall B was indeed stronger. He didn't want to lose the qualification to compete. But William threatened him with public humiliation. If Smith refused to fight, he'd publish Martial Arts Hall A is weak and useless in the newspaper the next day. Smith was torn. At that moment, the sister bravely stepped forward. She volunteered to fight for Martial Arts Hall A, but her brother stopped her because she was still injured from the previous match and couldn't possibly handle another intense battle. However, Smith thought she was still the best candidate, since she was the most skilled fighter in the dojo. Then, the man offered to take his sister's place. Everyone was stunned. They all thought he had lost his mind. A useless janitor wanting to represent the dojo? But to everyone's surprise, Smith agreed. He had just seen how easily the man had spotted the senior disciple's flaw and began to suspect that the janitor was hiding real strength. The man made only one strange request. He wanted to be the last to fight, because in this tournament, each dojo would send 3 fighters, and whichever team defeated all 3 opponents would win. Everyone mocked him for being afraid to lose, not knowing that he was waiting for his seal to be lifted. Only 15 minutes remained before his vow with his mother expired. The match officially began. William sent out his first fighter. Everyone was stunned. It was Adam, ranked 30th in the national kung fu competition. Smith sent out his second disciple. The second disciple's kung fu was weak, but he was overly confident. The man gave him advice from below the stage, but he refused to listen. He charged at Adam arrogantly. The next second, Adam knocked him flat on the floor. Smith then sent his third disciple. He also wasn't strong enough to beat Adam, but this time, he wisely followed the janitor's advice. He quickly turned the tide and finally defeated Adam. Smith was overjoyed, but William scoffed. Adam was merely the weakest fighter in Martial Arts Hall B. He immediately sent out his second fighter, Ted. Ted was ranked 10th in the entire nation. The man instantly knew the third disciple couldn't beat Ted, but he encouraged him to hold on for 5 minutes. However, the third disciple didn't expect Ted to be so strong. Ted knocked him down with a single move, then continued to beat him ruthlessly. Just as the third disciple was about to die, the man suddenly stepped onto the fighting stage. He threw a gentle punch, and a golden dragon roared through Ted's body. At that moment, the crowd still didn't realize they were witnessing the true power of the Kung Fu champion.